Welcome back to the, I guess it would be the third part. We had the first part this morning, then we had a lunch break, and then the afternoon session. So, what I'm going to teach you how to do tonight is how to wiggle gold wiggle trade. You're going to be like mini market makers. Here's how it works. Can everybody see my screen? Give me a visual yes if you can, in fact, see me. Oh, thank you, P. All right, so I guess we can chat. Cool. I see you where it says recording is all set. Great. All right. Notice the big gaps in price action. You see these holes? It's either 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4, 5, 6. 6 on the bid, right? Here's the highest bid, which is $14.93.30, and the biggest ask is $14.94.30. So we're basically how many ticks away? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost a full point wide on gold, right? Not quite, but almost there. Like 8 ticks. 8 to 9 ticks. So it's going to be thin and it's going to be erratic. That's perfect. That's what we want. All right. Now, what we want to do is we want it to tighten up a little bit. There's a couple ways we're going to do that. We're going to force it to tighten up. All right. Well, force is probably too strong a word. We're going to nudge price action and try to influence it to think about tightening up. All right. Now, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it works, though. I would say if I do this 10 times, I'm probably successful, probably 6 out of 7, 6, or maybe even 7 times out of 10. So if you know how to wiggle it, it's not a bad little trade. You're only going to have to spend, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes doing this, and then after that, it's done. When it originally opens, you're going to see it open up. And you'll see the price action over here open up. And the thing that you're going to look for is you're looking for gold to be in a range of 1 point. So I want it to move a minimum of 10 ticks, which is 1 point. Then after it does that, whichever way the initial push goes, that's the side I want to be on. So if it opens up and if it opens up at 9 or 14.93 and goes 14.92, pow, like this, I want to be short, okay? But I only want to be short after I mess around with it a little bit. If it opens up at 14.93 and goes 14.94, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 1 tick above for a buy stop or 1 tick below for a sell stop if I'm going short. Then I'm going to fill these holes in the side that I want to move in the direction. So in other words, if I'm long right here, okay, if I'm long at 14.93 even, then I will fill these holes on this side, and then I will take one and move it around and wiggle it. So I will give the visual representation that the gold on the bid side is a little bit more attractive than on the ask side. All right. And then all I'm trying to do is I'm jigging for fish is all I'm doing. I'm going to sit here. I'll have a contract. It'll be like that right there. And I'll go move around, move around, move around. It'll start fluctuating and flashing on the price action. Get some retail traders excited, like fishing for a fish. They bite, and when they bite, then it forces it to go a little higher. Okay? So that's the ideal plan. Every time I've did this, teaching it, I think I've only taught it probably around 10 times or so. And I would say the percentage for this work and even teaching it is pretty high too. And that's great. I'm setting myself up for this time not to work, but that's all right. You guys will get the gist of what's going on here. So any questions? So we got 3 minutes. So you got 3 minutes to ask your question. I got about 3 minutes to answer it. Does everybody understand the overall theory of what I'm going to try to attempt to do? I usually when I'm doing the gold wiggle trade, I usually never use more than 6 contracts. I just don't need to. So I'll wiggle it with 1. In other words, I'll get a fill with 1. I'll put in a bunch of other orders that I don't want filled on, which usually never get filled. And then I'll wiggle it with 1. All right. So I'll have 1 order that I really want filled. I'll fill the potholes with my orders. I'll fill the holes with my orders, and then I use 1 to wiggle. Then when I get filled, I cancel those out. I wiggle, and then I stop and see what's going to happen. I'm going to see if gravity's going to work or if it's going to take off. When do I buy in? I buy in as soon as I find where the range is. So I need at least a 1 point range, 10 ticks. If the range is in the upward direction, I will buy 1 tick high. If the range is downward direction, I buy 1 tick new low. 60 seconds. Starting to tighten up already. All right, here we go. Which direction did it move? Obviously. What do you think it's looking like already? So we've got a range from 93 to 94.20. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'd like to have another one. So I want at least one tick or 1 point range. So I'm looking for a push. It is in the up direction right now, but it's not within 10 ticks. I need it to be 10 ticks or more. Here's a hole. Here's 2 holes. There's 1 hole. Here's 3 holes. Okay, come on. 1 more tick higher. Actually, 2 more ticks. I need to go right here. So my buy stop will be right there. It's usually a little faster than this. As soon as I get, oh yeah, there we go. Here we go. Should be getting filled any second now. So that would be a 10 tick move, and my target, my entry will be 11 ticks. So now I'm filled. So now I'm going to fill this hole. I don't want to fill that hole because it's a little too close. And now I'm going to wiggle them around here. Okay. Filling the holes and wiggling. So now all I'm doing is I'm supporting my position. Now if I get filled on these ones below, I'll just cancel the order and eject. All right. There we go. Come on now. Strong, united front. There we go. Don't want to show any weakness. No weakness. Obviously, the sell side is a little thicker right now. All right, now after I feel that, then what I do is I do this. And then I go cancel, cancel. And now I see if somebody wants to pick up the torch. I just see if gravity is going to take place or if it's going to push up in my direction after I wiggle it for a little bit. Let's wait a few minutes and I'll give her another shot. Not a lot of interest right now. That's why we're not moving. All right. Fill the hole and wiggle. Okay. I'm canceling. Canceling. Does everybody see what I'm doing? Everybody understand? It's not complicated. It's just tomfoolery. This is why we call depth of market mental masturbation or liar's poker. Because heads up, I don't really want these down here. All right. I hope to God I don't get filled on them. Because if I do, it means something horribly wrong has happened. What I want to do is I want to make this side look a little stronger than it actually is. Because initially, gold thrusted to the high side. It was a 1 point range or higher. We bought the 1 tick new high, and then we're just trying to, we're just trying to defend our territory is all we're doing. All right. I wouldn't call it market manipulation because I'm not really manipulating anything. I don't really want filled on these orders. Okay. Now, if you think I'm the only one that does stuff like this, you are sadly mistaken, and you will have a rude awakening to the trading world. All right, canceling the orders, and then I just let it rest for a minute and see what it's going to do. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work, and I can reverse and go back down to this side. So I'm trying to see which way is the path of least resistance. And right now it's hanging up here. It's just not doing a great job. It'd be nice if it just, the key thing about this is once it goes quick. It'll go like this. It'll go, it'll go pop, pop. And then when it pops, I just hit close. Yes, I did enter a trade. Yes. So now we just wait. Usually this trade plays out fairly quickly. I would say probably the majority of the time, first 10, 15 minutes, and then you're done with it. So it doesn't take long. And sometimes I'm in and out of it within 5 minutes. There we go. Popping up a little bit. Let's help defend. And let's also help wiggle. Cancel. See if it can support itself. See if it can stand on its own 2 feet. It can't. So let's make it look stronger. Building the foundations for the long. Notice there's a lot more sell activity. Or is there? Are these really sells? It's a good question. Does anybody know if this is a real sale? If these 13 are, this 3, 13, 4, 10, 10, 6, 6. Not really. Until they get filled, they're not really sell orders. A bid is not a buy, and an ask is not a sell. It's not a binding contract, in other words. It's an implied purchase or an implied sale. So we could get up here and everyone could just jump out of the way, and there could be like 4 fills that happen there. Because it can just get here and people go, I don't want it. Usually I would say the average that I make on this is anywhere from 1.5 points to 3 points on this trade. That would be the average. And sometimes you get lucky enough and it just starts running like crazy. But the average would probably be 1.5 to 3 points, I would say. Canceling the bids, seeing if it can stand on its own 2 feet. Looks a little weak there. Let's build it up. Why don't I want to fill this one? Why don't I want to fill that hole? Anybody? Bueller? Exactly. Too close can get it filled. Correct. That's way too close. That's within 1-2 ticks of that market. If I get up there and get too cute with it, I'll get filled, and I really don't want it. All right, switch it just a little bit longer here. Trade's usually a tad more exciting than this. It's usually got a little bit more oomph to it. Some good size orders. 1494.90. 200, 200, 100, 38, 25, 1 and 1. Some decent orders. Another key place that you can exit this on is if you see a big volume spike here. If it goes bing, if it jumps up and you get a big volume spike, you just go exit. Fill in the hole. The only bad thing about trading extend market from time to time is sometimes you'll get this type of action where it's just really slow and there's not a lot you can do with it. So we just need a few more players. Still just slightly more on the ask side than the bid side when you add them up in your head. Here's 22, 24, yeah, just a few more over here on the ask than the bid. Not a huge difference though. And I'm gonna start wiggling again, see what happens. The holes are all filled now. All I'm doing is wiggling a little bit. Just fishing. And wiggle for a little bit and then stop and see what happens. Did you guys place any options trades today? What did Carter get into? Did you guys find any good ones? Lots of option pinning trades. Oh, cool. Very nice. While it's slow, can you tell us how to trade when Ben Lickenstein from the pit says locals are buying? How do you know they're not just taking the other side of earlier trades? Oh, you don't. I mean, you don't know if the locals were buying, if they were covering a short from 3 days ago. You don't know. What you do is you look at the reaction of the price action to that buying. Is when they're buying, is it driving the price up or is it doing nothing? If it's not doing anything, then it's getting absorbed like a sponge would absorb water, or like a biscuit sops up gravy, right? So that's what you do, is you're always taking a real-time snapshot of who's buying and who's selling, and is it having any effect on price action whatsoever. It'd probably take you on the Trader's Audio stuff. It'd probably take you 3-4 months to get fluent in it. I hated it the first few times I used it, and now I can play it in the background and know exactly what's going on without even looking at the market. I mean, it gets to a point where you can sleep to that stuff. All right, doesn't look like this one's going to do anything. So there's a couple things we can do here. Tonight I want to come back at 9:30 instead of 11:30. Do you play silver at night? No, silver's thin at night. Silver will tear your head off at night. I only trade silver intraday, where you can get in and out of it effectively. Do you, Hubert, do you more of the gold rush during the daytime or the gold rush I would do at night also. The gold bug only during the day, yes. 9:30 East Coast time is when I want to come back. Usually I do the trade at 11:30, but to be honest with you, the past 2 weeks I've been switching my body clock. I'm usually a vampire. I'm usually up till 3 to 5 in the morning Now I'm going to bed at 9:30 and getting up at 5. So we can still do the trade at 9:30, that the one that I used to do at 11:30, and we'll just make a few modifications to it. All right. So there's a couple things we can do here. We can, one, leave this trade on. I like the hour of power. Awesome way to build it. Oh, thanks. You guys want to leave it on? Me personally, I would. We've got what, a 3-point stop on it. Stop on it's 3 points. Yeah, so the stop's here. So we can just leave it on. Or better yet, we can just move this stop up. We know if it breaks this low, it's going lower. So let's just do that. We know if it comes down here and tags 14.93.30, we're dead wrong on this trade. And if it breaks the low, it's going to push lower anyway. All right. So we'll do that. We'll risk 1.5 on the trade and see if it'll run. I won't know if it'll run or not because I'll just be posting videos and going upstairs and eating dinner with my family. How many cars would you trade for every 10,000? I would trade 1 car per 10,000 or 15,000. But if 1 car per 10 or 15,000 is a good rule of thumb. All right. So the plan is we come back here at 9:30 p.m. East Coast time, and we'll check on this trade. Either we'll have made anywhere from 1.5 to 3 points, or we will have lost 1 point and 4 ticks. I'll see you guys then.